What's good, fam? Welcome back to another Gelli Printing video, and today, as you can see, we've got a stencil sheet, which means we are making a stencil. Yes, a stencil. And this week we're going to be making another full-size stencil, but this one is special. This one is special because it will be a layered stencil. 3 layers in total are what we're actually going to do. So first we've got to come up with our design. And the prompt for the design is a landscape. I'm doing something very simple, just a nice sky landscape. You can choose any sort of landscape you want. It can be fantastical, it could be real, anything you want. Just make it landscapey. I'm gonna go ahead and start out where I usually start out with my sun. Because what is a sky landscape without a sun? I guess, or a moon, but we're going with the sun. We're brightening things up. It's going to be a daytime, and I'm making the sun way less complicated than I did for my last full-size stencil. Y'all remember how that went. So yeah, I'm just drawing out my design in its completion, all the layers on one design sheet. I'll split it up later between the different stencil sheets. But like I said, I'm going very simple this time, adding some birds, some clouds, what have you. You don't have to draw yours out first on a separate piece of paper if you feel so confident in your artistic abilities to go straight in with your permanent marker onto the different stencil sheets, but I am not that confident. Here comes my dog, Peaches. Peaches, what do you want? This time around with this large scale stencil, I'm paying special close attention to how I space the different elements of my design out. I ran into a lot of trouble in the last large stencil when cutting everything out. Things were so close together, it was easy to accidentally cut into another part, and then when it came time to actually pull a print, there was just a lot of bleeding going on. So I'm trying to space things out at least a little bit more with this design so that hopefully when we pull prints from it, we'll have a lot less bleeding into different parts where paint is not supposed to be, and hopefully it will generally be easier to cut out. So now I have my design, and it is time for me to figure out what elements of the design I want to have on each of the different layers of the stencil. Like I said, I'm going to be using 3 stencils, so just trying to divvy it up by sight. I'll probably do the sun on one layer, the birds on another layer, and then the clouds on the 3rd layer. So I went ahead and grabbed 2 more stencil sheets so that I could cut out the extra 2 layers I'll need. I previously only had 1 because I wasn't thinking about the fact that that's the whole purpose of this technique, is to have a triple layer print. And I went ahead and traced the outline of the pre-cut stencil sheet onto the other stencil sheet so it'd be easier for me to cut it out. And I'm just wiping off all that extra permanent marker because I don't want it to show up in my print. Now that that's all clean, I'm going ahead and gonna start tracing the elements of the design onto the different stencil sheets. Starting off with the sun for layer number 1. I think that tracing the designs onto the stencil sheet may be one of my favorite parts of making the stencils. And as I did last time, I'm going ahead and blacking out the parts that I'm going to cut out. That way I know when I'm cutting it out, just all the black, that's got to go. That's going to be where the hole is that the paint comes through. Just waving it around to dry the ink before I set it down. Now on to layer number 2. The birds. A tweet, tweet, tweedly dee dee dee. And on to layer number 3, the most abundant of the layers, all of these ding dang floaty mody clouds. I actually really like how the clouds turned out. If I were to do this over again, I think I would mix up what parts of the design I put on which layers. You know, leaving the birds to one, the sun to another, all the clouds on one. It's just kind of obvious, and it would be really cool to play with colors if I were to kind of mix up which design elements I put on which layer of the stencil. Just something to think about for my next time. Honestly, maybe I enjoy blacking out the elements I want to cut out even more than I like tracing the design onto the sheets. Something about that black, just take it over. Now the time has come to put on up. And of course, for each of the design elements, we start by snipping a little spot in the middle, and then just going around from the middle and cutting all the black bits out. And already I can tell this is so much easier than the last stencil. I put a lot of little details in the last large stencil. Made it quite a bit harder to cut everything out, all the bits and pieces. Luckily with these triangles, I'm able to kind of bend each a little, then make that straight line, and then bend it the opposite direction to just like cut. You know, it's hard to explain with words, but you can see it's happening right there on screen. Now we've got the sun all nice and cut out, and I'm sort of bending the stencil sheet the opposite direction that I was folding to cut, so that we don't, well, hopefully run into the problem of it not wanting to lay flat on the Gelli plate like last time. And now onto the birds, which are a little bit more difficult because they are thinner, but since they're supposed to be pretty much symmetrical, I don't even have to follow the blacked out portion that I had pre-drawn on there, because as long as they just kind of have those like mustache looks, those mustache curve look things, they're birds. You just know they're birds. And now for the clouds, and there's a lot of clouds going on here, so there will be a lot of cuts to the middle. So I'm going ahead and cutting a middle out of each cloud first, just so I have the starting point for each of them ready and rearing to go. And then I'll do what I usually do, and from the middle just go around and cut each of the clouds out. The good thing about these clouds is because I can cut in the middle and there's such a large space, I'm not as worried about bends in the paper. You'll just get those little ones from when I initially cut the middles out, but I didn't even have to bend them that crisply in order to cut the middles out. So I'm not too worried about this one laying flat on the Gelli plate, which is a great worry to not have, let me tell you. And just like that, we have cut out all of the blacked out elements, which means we've got all 3 layers of our stencil. I'm just going ahead and cleaning them up real quick with a Lysol wipe because we don't want that permanent marker on our Gelli plates. I'm telling y'all, you don't want it. Now it is time to actually go some prints. So I've got my Gelli plate. We laying it out here landscape style yet again. And I'm laying down my first layer of the stencil, which is the sun, pulling out this beautiful yellow, this like turmeric yellow. We love it. We love to see it. I don't remember what the actual name of it is called, but y'all know this is my favorite yellow. I'm going in with the foam brush, again, just trying to alleviate any like extra spillage of the paint getting not where I want it to be. Peeling it up, it looks pretty good. I see a little bit of messy spots, a little bit of leakage where I didn't want it to be, but I'm not too stressed about it. Much better than we had before. Look at that. Now for layer number 2, the birds. It's for the birds. Going in with the blackety tack tack black. Again with the foam brush. This one will be a lot quicker because it's just 3 little birds. 3 little birds, not on the window. And they told me I should really worry. Peeling it up. Oof, those birds are already looking very splotchy, but you know, things happen. Things happen. That's why they said I should worry. That's exactly why. They still, they still don't look bad. They do not look bad. Look at me, I got a little bit of the turmeric yellow on the corner of my page, but that's all right. Going in with the clouds, we're doing a little, you know, double color action with the blue and the white, because, you know, clouds aren't just white, they're not even blue. They're actually really like more gray a lot of the time. But, you know, this is art. This is art. So it's up to our imagination, my imagination. And I already like the mix of the colors, and I just love the texture that the foam brush gives, and it'll especially look good for these clouds. And I actually had left a little bit of the black in there, so that we could get a little bit of gray tint. And here we go, all 3 layers are on. Let's see how it turned out. Oh my gosh. Oh, look at this. You know, there's a few little mistakes here and there, but honestly, A-okay to me, baby. I like this. We are light years beyond where we were with last week's full-size stencil. And here is the kind of ghost print we pulled with the excess paint that was left on the stencils. I think that turned out cool also. Now let's go in and try to do this again. This time we're gonna put down the paint onto the Gelli Plate first. And I'm just kind of mixing things together. Guess what color yellow and blue makes, y'all? If you didn't say green, I'm concerned. But I like how this green kind of turned out. It mixed very well, but you still see those high yellow patches. And I'm just gonna pull a plain color print of this like mixing mashy green that I really enjoy. It's like a matcha green. Yeah, matcha. Or just a little dark. I'd say like a minty green. And look at how this yellow pops out. And we've got a little bit of that black from before. But I like how that print turned out. Ooh, with that yellow in it. The yellow swatches. Ooh, they got me. Ooh, I like those. So we're going in again with the yellow for the sun. And hopefully, just like the yellow is like screaming at us in patches on top of the green, hopefully that means it will also stand out well. We went in with the brayer this time, so we'll see how that goes and see if the paint stayed where we wanted it to be. And already we see that it didn't. We see that it did not. So there's that. But here we're gonna keep on going. We're gonna keep on trucking. At least the color does look good against this green, which we knew it would because of the yellow splotches that kind of pop out at us. Now for the birds. We're getting a little fancy schmancy with the birds. We're gonna make them gray, which gray isn't a fancy schmancy color, but the way that we're doing it in the blendy way, that's fancy, bruh. So much paint left behind. But those are some crisp looking birds. Them birds is crispity, I must say. Okay, let's see how it comes up on the print. Wow, that was a lot of paint left behind, but that's okay. Okay, the birds look a little less crispity on the actual, very much less crispity on the print, but things happen. Things happen. Let's give us some light turquoise, light skin turquoise with a dab of white clouds. I added the white so that it, you know, is at full bright capacity, since we want it to show up very well onto the background with the green and the yellow. Again, so much paint. Just so much paint. But better too much than too little when it comes to the light skin turquoise. I really just said, fill the whole stencil with paint. Fill it all. But those clouds look crispy. For real though. For real though. For real though. Let's hope that they come through as crispy. Ooh, shoot. Look at that. Doesn't that look cool? I think that looks cool. Of course, we're a lot of it out of alignment when it comes to the birds and the gaps that they were supposed to fill, but I really love how those clouds turned out. Look at those little white patches. Ooh, okay, we out here. Now I am just going in with some other colors to pull a regular background color print again. We're just having fun and experimenting now. We're kind of going for a sunset type vibe. You see, we get into it's kind of like a, I wouldn't say out of order, but a not in order, even though that's pretty much the same statement. But we're just trying to get some gradients with some, colors that look good next to each other. Right in the middle, blend just a little. I'm just gonna pull up this gradient. And it's already looking cool from what I see. We had some, paint left behind because I had used such an excess of paint, but I really like that. Okay, I like that little blend. It's not as blended as I would have liked it to be, but I appreciate the blend for what it did do. And now it is time to review our prints. First up, we have, honestly, the best, cleanest print of the bunch. Yes, there are mistakes, but the alignment is on point, and it didn't bleed where it wasn't supposed to as much as it did in the following print. I'll say that, but we've definitely stepped it up from last week. Here's that ghost print from the first print, the excess paint from the actual stencils because I was using so much paint. This always yields the crispiest lines, and I hate it for it. And then this next one, which, bled a lot more, but you gotta love the colors that we ended up with, the blends. Look at the clouds, y'all. The clouds, though. And then this last one where we were just picking up the excess paint left behind with little gradient action with this light pink, this orange, this yellow. But yeah, I had fun. I hope you had fun. And until next time, bye.